Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
Do you know that from birth to age 3, simple activities like talking, playing, reading, storytelling, and singing can boost your child's development? Little Moments Count provides parents and caregivers with the resources they need to make the most of your time together. Visit littlemomentscount.org for resources designed to support you in giving your child the best start in life. Again, please visit littlemomentscount.org.
The NLS Braille and Audio Reading Download Service gives patrons with visual impairments or physical limitations the freedom to read their way.
Barge is this beautiful web-based program for searching for books and for the ability to download them.
It's a great way to have a book with you without carrying a book.
For information about the National Library Service for the Blind and Physically Handicapped Library of Congress, visit loc.gov/thatallmayread.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 20, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 36. Keeping progressive voices on the air here at AM 950 is not easy, and we can't do it without your support. Please, if you can, go to am950radio.com and make a donation to support our work. As a thank you, you'll get our 6th annual AM 950 calendar. That's am950radio.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Courtney Cup, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, I want to get going here right away and lead off with our friend from New Native Theater. Let's talk about what's going on. There's some exciting things happening, and there's a show happening right now. Genevieve, thank you so much for coming on Native Roots Radio right away.
Thank you, Mr. Robert. I'm really happy to be here.
Cool. Let's talk about A Christmas in Ochopee, this play that's going on. And then there's other things that New Native Theater does in the community, but that's lead off right away. We got a show that's ending on the 21st and called Christmas in Ochopee.
Yeah, so Christmas in Ochopee is written by a Miccosukee, Florida native playwright, Montana Cypress. And you're right, it is in the final week. So we have shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mr. Montana came to New Native Theater. He submitted A Christmas in Ochopee originally as a 10-minute play festival submission. So it was very short to begin with. And after we asked him very politely for several years to write it as a full-length play. He did oblige, and so this is the second time New Native Theater has run A Christmas in Ochopee. We're hoping to make it maybe a seasonal tradition, sort of like our Christmas Carol for Native America.
Yeah, and it's so funny, and it's also very heartfelt too, and it's open to anyone. Just come see it too. It's not just for natives, but there's a lot of fun native humor in there.
Yes, exactly that. It is a family-friendly comedy. You would see on our website, newnativetheater.org. It's recommended for ages 10 and up. There's no objectionable content, but we find like the jokes can be a little sophisticated. So that's why we put that on there.
Yeah, definitely. And I get to see my Hinu again. Jaleesa's in the play, but there's also a couple people that came back and that are in different parts, and I was a little worried, but wow, I'm not worried anymore. It's really fun, and the parts really that people are playing are just awesome, and it is funny, and I plan on going again, and that'll be my third time.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Mr. Robert. It's always good to see you in the audience, whether or not Jaleesa is there, of course. You are one of our favorite recurring patrons. And I will say, for those who haven't read the synopsis online, the comedy is largely based on like bringing someone home for the holidays who's external to the family. Young college guy comes home back to the res, and family hijinks ensue. And you're right about there being a couple ensemble members from New Native Theater who are in their roles again, and it's just kind of an extension of the whole Native ethos of like, once you're a family to New Native Theater, you're just always gonna, be considered for parts. And we're really happy to have David Valentine and Jaleesa McKee back again.
Yeah, and you were on this play too. What's your role right now with New Native Theater?
Thanks for noticing. Yes. So I originally played Virginia, the mom in the play. And I had a marvelous time. It was really fun as an actor. And I think having been in a couple pieces with New Native Theater, I then decided about 2 years ago that I wanted to contribute in a more meaningful way. And so I've come on full time as the senior artistic producer, and March will be my second year with the company. So there is really something infectious about being around Native people, creative things, and I really appreciate that I get to see the play this time, because when you're in it, you don't get to see it. You just know your part. So,
Well, I got to say this, that you're a very good actor, and from comedy to serious. And there was a play that you were in earlier that was a very, very serious play, and there were only 4 of you in that play from New Native Theater. Can you remind me and our listeners about that play, because that was really, really intense.
yeah, so it was by a playwright named Keith Barker, who is Canadian native, and it won basically the Canadian equivalent of the Nobel Prize up there. And we brought it to New Native Theater kind of at a time just as the pandemic was winding down, and it was the first play I was ever in, actually. So it premiered in North America the first time, and it was my first play, and I met Jaleesa, who actually majored in theater in her college career. So she really kind of took me under her wing and gave me a real intense lesson in like the basics of theater. I didn't know stage left from right and upstage and downstage, all these things. And so she really helped me out in that regard. And that's the special thing about New Native Theaters. We do take Native people who have had 0 acting experience, such as myself, all the way to folks who are doing this professionally for a living. And you might notice that Mato Waiuhi, who is normally a musician, but has a little bit of background in theater as a youngster, he has joined us this year as Donnie Boy, and he is hilarious on the stage. And he's told me recently that he really appreciates getting the opportunity to perform in that way again, and do something different outside of music.
Well, he was excellent, and it's a great part. And I really liked the part where he was playing the officer too, because we had a different officer last time, Roya, and this was put to a different level, and it was the way he was popping up in different parts. But I don't want to give away the play for people that are going to go out and listen to it. But that was a striking, fun part for me to go, oh, this was hilarious. I couldn't stop laughing.
Oh, I'm so glad you noticed. And I will say that even if you've seen it before, you haven't seen it this time. So I do recommend people come out. It is a different set, different staging, different actors, and they do very different things with their characters. I see it just about every night that it's on, and no performance is ever the same as the previous.
Well, we got a couple minutes here, and of course, I want to talk again about A Christmas No Choppy, but I also want to talk a little bit about what New Native Theater, you were talking about, you being a novice and being in a play. The New Native Theater offers classes and things like that, and during the year, and really, if you're thinking about it, this is a great organization to get involved with, support, and all those things.
Yeah, Robert. We often have small positions open for community folks who are interested in approaching theater. We do offer just kind of like a on-the-job sneak behind the curtain, see what it's like to shadow a props person, or maybe do assistant directing, which we had one of our ensemble members did come on as an assistant director for A Christmas in Ochapi, and that's Elena Yazzie. No relation to Rihanna Yazzie, our founder and artistic director, but we offer the ensemble and community folks a chance to get in on the action. These are, modestly paid positions, but if you want exposure to theater, we're always open to taking somebody on for that.
Yeah, exciting. And again, we got like a minute left here. A Christmas No Choppy. Look it up on New Native Theater. How do we find out more information?
Yeah, newnativetheater.org, and theater is spelled Theatre, the bougie way. And you can read about tickets and our upcoming spring performance too, also a world premiere by a Native Alaska playwright, Kira Eckenweiler. That one's The Bird Blind, and it's a drama. So
wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Well, we'll have you on again, and I really appreciate you. I know there's things happening, and you're very busy, and I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us a little bit about this great play and this great organization. Genevieve Lane, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Robert. Good night. Good night.
All right, we'll see you soon. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. Up next, Bob Blake from Red Lake. Ho-wah.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Do you know that from birth to age 3, simple activities like talking, playing, reading, storytelling, and singing can boost your child's development? Little Moments Count provides parents and caregivers with the resources they need to make the most of your time together. Visit littlemomentscount.org for resources designed to support you in giving your child the best start in life. Again, please visit littlemomentscount.org.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat, and apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot and Robert Blake, Bob Blake from Red Lake, the Solar Bear with the Solar News. Thank you so much, Bob, for coming on. As always, we got a lot to talk about, and I see the Timberwolves hat. That's a good one. Where did you get that? Oh,
yeah, I like this one, Robert. I just got this in the mail. But it's pretty cool.
Cool, very cool. Well, a lot to talk about, and then maybe we can wrap up the show too, talk a little sports there, because we have some good things to talk about. I know yesterday, I think every team, what day is today? Tuesday? Yesterday, I think every team won. So we'll have to get into that in a good way. Sunday, every team won. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. No,
with
Robert,
our friends in Green Bay.
We're definitely going to have to talk about what's happening with the sports. I want to talk first, real quickly, Robert, about just recently down in Kentucky, 1,600 workers were laid off, and this was at a Ford CEO, a Ford plant where they were making the F-150 Ford Lightning. So what we're having here, Robert, is we're having now the repercussions of a lot of the administration's,
tariff
policy decisions that are affecting a lot of these different, car makers.
Yeah, the tariffs are really going to be kicking in. We got not only that, of course, we'll talk about a little bit later, but the insurance for people, health insurance is going up 500% to some people. It's just insane right now.
Yep. And then the battery plant, which was canceled in Missouri, citing regulatory changes, initially killing 1,000 jobs. So this is in Missouri. A solar firm in North Carolina laid off 78% of its workforce after filing bankruptcy due to renewable energy policy changes that came down from this administration. Q-Cells, a solar manufacturing plant in Georgia, announced that it was going to be laying off 1,000 people. This is in Georgia, Robert. And it looks like General Motors in Michigan is going to be laying off 1,200 folks too. These are a lot of jobs, Robert, that are being inadvertently affected by the policies coming out from this administration.
Yeah, we have that to deal with, and then we talk about the white collar jobs too, Bob, with the AI and all that's going on. This is going to be bleak times for the economy and for what's the deal, Bob? Is it just only rich people that are keeping the stock market going? Is that what's happening? Because this is insane, and yet some of the indicators aren't showing this.
Well, they're saying that 23 states are already in a recession. So that's basically half the country.
Right.
I imagine you can't lay off this amount of people and then have it not affect you. And I think we're going to start seeing a lot of this start happening either first or second quarter next year. That I think the rest of the country is going to start feeling the impact of these decisions. And with the midterms coming up, Robert, I'll go back to George Stephanopoulos and James Carville. It's going to be the economy, that's going to really show up in this next, voting midterms.
Well, I don't know. It seems like MAGA's kind of turning on the orange one right now too, especially after the sad murder of Rob Reiner and his wife. What Trump had to say was just unbelievable, and you can comment on that. We don't have to get into that because that is just so wrong in so many different ways, Robert.
I don't know how. I don't think we've ever had a president who has said some of these or put it out there. I think it was Senator Kennedy from New Orleans or from Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
who made the comment. He should have just kept his mouth shut. He should have just kept his mouth shut.
Yeah.
I mean, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, of all people, who's saying to the president he should have just kept his mouth shut. I mean, I think that says a lot there in itself.
Well, one of my favorite actors until I found out that he was a total MAGA man, James Woods, even said something. And, he has had a relationship with Rob Reiner and his wife as an actor over the years. And, even is this the turning point? But we've talked about many turning points in the last year and the prior election or prior term of the orange one.
Yeah, and he said it, Robert, pretty much. Where he said, I could go out on Broadway and shoot someone in
Fifth Avenue. Yep.
Yep.
And he was kidding. But he's losing those people that were, like you said, when Clinton ran against the first Bush, it was like Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. And that's what is happening right now. Those things that he said that he was going to do isn't doing, but he's destroying the infrastructure. And I'm wondering how it's affecting a lot of our tribes, because I know when I was working for our tribe here, and it really affected it the second day when he closed the portal for health insurance and all 180. It was like millions of dollars that were being taken out of circulation for a lot of the tribes. And I know there was layoffs happening, and and especially with what you're dealing with the tribes and people out there with, at the end of the year, these incentives for cars and things like that are going to be gone.
Yeah, Robert, I think that, next year is going to be tough. And I think that the country's really going to see the effects of this administration's policies. The trade deficit with China, and you look at Canada, Mexico, and all of these new trade decisions that are being made between these other countries that are leaving the United States out of.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this whole tariff thing is backfiring actually on this administration, and we're starting to see all of those different decisions come to fruition.
Well, they don't care, and they didn't care from the get-go. People were warning them of this, and I think it's been a big money grab is what's really been happening. I mean, look what Musk did when he was working there. He was mining all this information and hiding all these things that people could go after them with, that that these businesses weren't doing. And pollution control, what is that now, right?
Yeah, and what's sad, Robert, is I think what we're seeing is all of the corporations are all kind of thinking that they can do all this bad stuff and not have any repercussions. And you're starting to see it across the board. And so with all of the regulation people have been cut from the government.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're starting to see like a lot of these companies, act in ways that aren't in the best interest of the consumer. And so I think that I hope that this country and the voter and everyone starts seeing how bad this administration has been for this country. And I think we're going to see a big blue wave this election.
Well, and it's funny too, their response, Bob. A lot of the responses, they want to blame Biden, and people aren't buying that anymore.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before people start realizing that, this is, he has to own this, and and I hope that people understand and look at the way the Republican Party is constantly lying, pointing the finger, and not taking responsibility. And I think that's going to come through this next midterm election.
Yeah, and you know what? I just got to say this before we go on break here. We're going to go on break here in a couple seconds here. I really appreciate you coming and talking about this stuff, and it's hard to talk about because it affects our relatives, our Native relatives, and our white allies, and we're not even talking about what's happening here in Minneapolis with ICE yet, and this is the upside down world here. And Bob, I really, really appreciate you coming on and talking about this stuff. And we're going to have some levity a little later in the show with the sports, but this is such serious stuff that we're dealing with here on Turtle Island and with our Native communities and the communities that we live in. I just appreciate you.
Absolutely, Robert. We got to stick together.
Definitely. Hey, we're here with Bob Blake, the Solar Bear, with Solar News and Sports. This is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back.
Metro Transit has immediate openings for mechanics to help maintain our buses, trains, and support vehicles. It's a great place to work. You'll earn a $4,000 hiring bonus, and in the first year, mechanics earn over $88,000 a year, depending on work shift. Learn more at metrotransit.org/mechanics. Our mechanics get a generous tool allowance and outstanding benefits like great medical and life insurance and a state pension. Don't wait. Apply today at metrotransit.org/mechanics.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Do you know that from birth to age 3, simple activities like talking, playing, reading, storytelling, and singing can boost your child's development? Little Moments Count provides parents and caregivers with the resources they need to make the most of your time together. Visit littlemomentscount.org for resources designed to support you in giving your child the best start in life. Again, please visit littlemomentscount.org.
The Walker Arts Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio. Visit Deani Whitehawk, Love Language, an exhibition that celebrates the Sichangu Lakota artist, centered on connection between one another, past and present, earth and sky, and traditions of Lakota abstraction. Love Language is a sweeping survey of Whitehawk's work. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. More info at walkerart.org.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Is your home ready for the holidays? 'Tis the season to be jolly, and nothing makes me jollier than a clean home. Maybe you breathed a sigh of relief that Thanksgiving wasn't at your house this year, but now you're realizing you are going to be hosting something in December and your home isn't ready. But don't worry, there's time to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come out and get things in order before your friends and family come over. Zero Res can take care of any surface in your home, from tiles, carpets, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and more. Don't DIY it. Call Zero Res because you know they're safe and effective. They have a 4.9 rating on Google Reviews with over 21,000 satisfied customers. Go ahead and get clean and don't miss this deal. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Spots are filling up fast, so don't wait. Lock yours in today. Happy holidays from all of us at Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 20, then Wednesday, cloudy with a high of 36. Cafe Latte is unlike any restaurant you've ever experienced. Grab a tray and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or cafelatte.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Native Roots Radio, and we are here with our friend Bob Blake from Red Lake. I got to say that one time. And we're talking about some things. Bob, I want to just read this before we move on, because I just touched a little bit on this in the last segment. And this is from Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe here out of Minnesota. And if ICE approaches you, you say, I am a member of, and it could be any nation like Ho-Chunk Nation or Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe, which is a tribal nation recognized by the United States. That means that I am also a U.S. citizen according to the U.S. Citizen Act of 1924, 8 U.S.C. Section 1401. My tribe's enrollment office number is, and then you give them that. So, I mean, there's people that are getting snatched up by ICE that are tribal members, and this is a fearful thing for all of us that may look a little tan during the winter.
Yeah. And what's unfortunate, Robert, about that is that this is exactly what this administration is trying to do, is to put this fear out here, in the community, and, make, individuals, scared. And this is part of I'm just going to be honest, this is part of the Nazi playbook. And this is what the Gestapo did. And I honestly believe that, ICE is being used in this manner. And this is, unfortunately, Stephen Miller's warped mind and his warped idealism of what he believes this country is supposed to be, what it's supposed to look like. And it's, unfortunately encroaching on the original habitats of this land, right? And that's the crazy thing about this, is we literally have a government right now, an administration right now, that is using, its powers to essentially bring back Jim Crow laws, and so, but my whole thing to everybody out there is that please take care of one another. Look out for your neighbors. If you see something, say something. Do not allow these scare tactics to control your lives or that of your community. Remember that, that you have rights as a citizen of the United States, and that you and part of us living in this democracy, Robert, is signing that invisible social contract that we are here to abide by the rules, by the laws that are here. And just because right now our government or this administration is not following it does not mean that we don't. And that's what responsible individuals in a society do.
Robert, I have to say this because I lived through this, and Nixon wasn't convicted, but his attorney general was after Watergate, after he left. Are we going to have enough guts and enough support to convict these people that I mean, look at right now with Hegstad and killing people that are heading the other direction from the United States, and there's no recourse of do they have drugs in their boat, and then they won't show us this, which has to be really bad. They won't show us the recording of them killing two people that were already knocked out of their boat and holding on for dear life.
Yeah, well, I really feel, Robert, that Vice President Harris probably won this last election. I think there's been numerous accounts where they've sit there and they said, that she probably won. And so I'm believing that, and I'm believing that because of the way that this administration is acting. They're acting in a way that they feel like they have something to hide, and they're making decisions made on the idea that someone's going to catch them eventually, so they better do this right now. And so when you look at all of that, what that tells to me is that this administration is clearly trying to hoodwink the people of the United States of America. And so I believe that what's going to happen here is that there is going to need to be some type of accountability for all these decisions that are being made, and I think there's going to have to be some type of trying of the people of this administration. And you clearly see how he is trying to cut deals with different countries where he's going to be able to go to. I think I think that that's the message he's given to his his administration too. So I hope that the Democrats see this through, and that we hold this administration accountable for all of these, for the terrorizing of their own country, for the targeting of their own people, for these just Gestapo tactics that they're doing. I mean, here's the difference, Robert. I can, you sit there and you say, well, how could Germany let that happen? Okay, let's go there. But with us, we've had 50 years of education to see what happened to the folks in Germany. Germany didn't have that. So, what's the underlying, I guess feelings here in this country that we would allow for something like this to happen? So I think the tail of the tape is going to come down to this midterms, and we're going to really see where this country and how they feel.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, and I've been kind of holding back on this. What kind of celebration is there going to be in this country when the orange one disappears in whatever way you want, whether he passes away from eating too much McDonald's or leaves? The celebration is going to be intense, and especially the way he acted towards Rob Reiner and his wife's murder. It's just I can't wait until.
I honestly believe, Robert, that everyone's going to forget about him. I think that this is going to be one of those things that you don't want to remember. I think we're going to try and sweep this under the rug. But I would like to go back to what Germany does and how they teach their citizenry about Nazism, and they remind them everywhere they look, this is not appropriate, this is not right, this is not what we're going to do. And so once again, I'll say it comes down to education, and the education and how we educate our citizenry about what we're living through. And this is the thing about democracy, everyone, is that it's a living, breathing thing. It's never done. We have to take care of it, and we have to fight for it every day. And so this is just one of those things that I believe, Robert, we probably had to go through in this country. We have been given a lot. We have such a great thing here, Robert. We are the only multicultural democracy in the world that is thriving the way it is. We have so many good people, And just for everyone out there, for all those folks that, believe that this is the way we're heading, well, let me tell you something. We have so many more people, Robert, that are saying, no, we're not going that way. And so, I believe you're going to see all of those people show up this midterm election.
Yeah, well, the pendulum, they always say the pendulum always goes way left and then way right. And I believe we were trying to really even push our moderate Democrats more progressive. And now this show showed up again. And I just really hope that's the case, and that the pendulum's going to be coming back. And then we have to just worry about pushing our moderate Democrats more progressively and into good things.
And I feel terrible for those individuals, Robert, that are being terrorized by ICE right now, our communities right now that are going through all of this. I mean, we just had a bunch of high school kids walk out of school because they were protesting ICE, we've had law-abiding U.S. citizens show up with whistles and with their phones and videotaping all of this. This is unprecedented. This is unheard of. This is America in 2025, Robert. Going to be 2026 in a couple of weeks. Okay, folks, this is our lesson. Is this the America that we want? And I'm telling you right now, Robert, I don't think it is. I believe that the majority of this country want good things, and we all want to live together. We love our country. We love everything that we've built together. Together, Robert, we've built this. And I believe that we're all going to show up, and we're going to let this country know, and this president and this administration know that what they're doing is unacceptable, and we need to go back the other way.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the kids, because I was going to ask you about this too before we go to break, and that's we have people that are 16, 17, 18 years old that have not seen a country without Trump, that don't know what how normal people talk to each other. We see this lateral oppression in our own community, but we also see. I wonder about the Gen Z and the younger ones, how they're going to come out of this.
And that's why I also believe, as adults, Robert, that we have to emulate and show these young people, how to handle this situation in a good way, right? And that they've for the majority of us, we've grown up with all of these wonderful rights and all this, I mean, if you really want to, Rob, you probably never have to leave your home. You can have food delivered to you. You can have entertainment come into you. I mean, we have built this thing up so wonderfully that you should not want for nothing. And honestly, Robert, this is just one of the things that I believe that we're just going to have to fight for.
Hey, we're here with Bob Blake, the Solar Bear, with the solar news and sports, and we'll be right back. This is Native Roots Radio. Ho-ah.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
The Walker Art Center is a proud supporter of Native Roots Radio, rooted in Lakota aesthetics of geometry, color, and pattern. Deani Whitehawk's abstractions are rich in meaning, honoring generations of Native artists. Explore her wide-ranging practice, including vivid beading paintings, sculptures, and video installations in Deani Whitehawk's love language. The Walker is always free on Thursday nights, and citizens and members of tribal nations always get free admission. Plan your visit and get tickets at walkerart.org.
Do you know that from birth to age 3, simple activities like talking, playing, reading, storytelling, and singing can boost your child's development? Little Moments Count provides parents and caregivers with the resources they need to make the most of your time together. Visit littlemomentscount.org for resources designed to support you in giving your child the best start in life. Again, please visit littlemomentscount.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. And we're here to protect our wolves and our bears. And I just want to get a big howl with Bob and I. It's been a while. Ho! All right, I'm looking at twincities.com, and they're asking if the Vikings kicker is Will Reichard is the best in the NFL, and I would have to say yes.
I would have to say also too, Robert, the thing about Will Reichard, Robert, is that he went to Alabama, University of Alabama, and he played in some pretty intense games, national championships, stuff like that. And in those SEC games down there, the Southeastern Conference, they take their football pretty serious. So the pressure that this kid has had on him through his football career, I tell you, I think he's a cool customer, and you see him, he shows up on Sundays, and he really comes through for the Minnesota Vikings. And I think that the Vikes, I believe, have themselves a Hall of Fame kicker. That's the thing about our team, Robert. We always fall into these really great players, and for some reason, we somehow mess it up. So I hope that we keep this kid. I hope that he sticks around because he is really great for the Minnesota Vikings, and he's good for the locker room. Everybody seems to like him. He seems to be a likable guy, and I think that's important in team sports.
It's funny too. I don't know if you've seen him, but he doesn't not look like an athlete and at all. When he's been in the locker room when they're handing out the game balls, I don't even know why I brought that up. But hey, for the longest time, 63 yards was the longest field goal in the NFL, and it was done by a guy from the New Orleans Saints that had like a wooden foot cut off. Dempsey was his name. Now everyone, including he has a 63-yard field goal this year, and that's the longest in Viking history. These kickers are unbelievable right now. But again, he doesn't look like an athlete.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too, Robert. The mechanics, the technology that they have nowadays, the nutrition. Just the advancements in sports medicine has really come leaps and bounds since you're talking about, that kicker Dempsey from New Orleans Saints who kicked that field goal, which that field goal stood for like, I want to say decades.
Yes, 30, 40 years. Now was it last year it was broken or the year before? But I think it was like 68 is when it was. 67 or 68 is when he kicked that.
Yeah, but the technology that is assisting these guys nowadays is just unbelievable. Like I said, the sports nutrition Everything is dialed down. Everything is like precise. And, these guys out here that are playing this game now, I mean, they literally have the best of the best. And, so when you go out there, I mean, and everybody's giving a hard time to JJ. And, but I mean, that game is so quick now, Robert, so fast that, you really do need to be dialed in. And I think that that's really what needed to happen was, KOC had to get JJ an opportunity to get dialed in, to allow him to have some, some successes like those short passes to the tight ends. Let's build off of stuff like that. And I think, just before this, Robert, Dallas beat the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles back to back, who were in the Super Bowl. Dallas is no joke. They are a good team.
Yeah, definitely. I believe this was the best game that he's played, but also I think they kind of figured him out too, like you said, hitting those tight ends and doing things that within his group and running the ball. So I read here, and this upsets me a little bit too, but the NFL sometimes, I like to call them the big plantation because, they don't have guaranteed contracts, and, they still don't ever want to talk about this concussion thing that's really messed up people over and over again. But for the Christmas Day game at Minnesota that the Vikings are playing the Lions, Snoop Dogg's going to perform, and he's a big Republican, and he's a big Trumper, and it's just like, this is kind of upsetting. And, if you remember too, Snoop Dogg murdered somebody years ago, and it's just like, how do the NFL, I don't know. I like talking about them, but I don't like to promote. I don't know. I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. Oh, wow.
Well, and I think the other thing is too, Robert, I think Snoop Dogg, got some money now, and he feels like he deserves all these tax breaks. And I think like a lot of people, right? I mean, they make some money, and all of a sudden, it's the whole attitude changes. But this will never change the fact though that you've got individuals like Elon Musk, right? Who Robert, I just want to read something to you. But if Bernie's Social Security bill was enacted in 2021, Musk would have paid $2.9 billion more in taxes, meaning Social Security would have been solvent for 75 more years. Benefits would have been increased by $2,400. 93% of Americans would have paid zero more in taxes. And the only one that is making out in this is Elon Musk and the rich. And so I ask everybody out there, right? How many trillionaires, how many billionaires do we need before we start realizing that, regular folks here in America could use those benefits? And so, it's folks like, Snoop Dogg and the rest of them that, I honestly want to say, who forget where they came from, is not something that, I feel like I think we need to emulate. I think it's also that whole thing of like, they try to put it out there like, you can be here one day. The reality is, folks, 95% of us ain't never going to get there and make that kind of money. So, I think we need to lower our expectations a little bit and realize the reality in which we live in. And that's what social media does, Robert. It paints this world for us that we live in sometimes through these phones.
Yeah. Well, everyone thinks I have a happy, joyous life, but I don't post the bad pictures of me stubbing my toe or falling down the stairs as an old person here. Well, we got to wrap the show up here in another couple minutes, but it's been an interesting talk, especially with what you brought up there. We miss Bernie, Uncle Bernie, and we got a big mess to. I always said too, if you made one less B-1 bomber, you could feed the world. Those $1 billion bombers, how many do we need of those? Where are our priorities? And of course, they do a very good job in putting us against each other, which we have natural allies, which, you know, we talk about this once in a while, but, you know, our Mexican brothers, they were colonized too. They didn't speak Spanish. They're part of North America, part of Turtle Island.
Yeah, Robert, and I'll say it, and I said it before. This isn't a culture war. This is a class war. And until we start realizing and figuring out that, you know, they're just then they've been doing this for centuries. The rich have been playing the poor against each other for centuries. And the other part about this is, if you're ever out in Washington, D.C., go out and take a look at, they call it Contractors Row, and you look at all those big houses that are all out there that are there because they're getting money from the federal government. And how do they afford all that? And I tell you, it's amazing, those houses. And your Uber driver or your taxi driver will say, these are all defense contractors who are getting this money. But that's the Solar Bear with the Solar News and Sports, Robert.
Hey, Big Peeny Geeky Bob, thank you so much for coming on and having a great conversation as always. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. This is Native Roots Radio. We're still here. We are the 7th generation. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, and vote, vote, vote. We're still here. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Bob.